might just fell in love with a gangster, so I hold him down like an anchor. He said if I keep it 100, that he keep me safe like a banker.
What's up, y'all? So glad to be back. I've missed talking to you guys. So today, as you already saw, we are doing these distress gypsy locks. We're going to separate small pieces to add to the braids. So I have this Rua 12-inch hair. It's the kids' hair, y'all. You just need a little bit at the base. So this is my client. She has some thinning along her hairline and her nape. She had just relaxed, and she previously had a pixie cut. So I knew I had my work cut out for me. And when I say she just relaxed, like her hair was really hard to part because it was just laid down. She actually came in a wrap. So, you know, freshly relaxed hair is difficult to part, and that stuff did not want to do what I wanted it to do. So I took that pure product and went ahead and put it on the parts. And some people have allergies on their scalp, so you always want to ask, you know, if anybody's allergic to anything. This product is an organic product, so it shouldn't be itchy for her. So again, yeah, just part as you normally would, use that product, and then we're going to go along and straighten up the parts with that product. Now I had these crocodile clips. I had to switch to some other clips just so we can hold the hair a little bit tighter. You want to make sure that the surrounding hair is up and out of the way when you're trying to part. Also, I got this new comb. It's Kiss by Red by Kiss. It's a axe comb, it's called. It has a special little tooth on the other side of the comb that allows for precise parting. I just used it the one time. I liked it, and so far. Okay, so we're parting each section, and again, I'm using that product, and I'm just gonna go in between as I part. I'm putting some product on the part so I can get it as straight as I can. If you are a beginning braider, I would suggest using a product like this Pure or Shine and Jam just so you can get straighter parts for your clients. Now, I try not to use a lot, but it does help with that and moisture, and to keep the style a little bit longer. It'll help it last for you. Okay, so in the nape, we did 3 here. You'll see that my parts are not the same size throughout the head, depending on the person's head shape and also the thinning of the hair. If you're working with thinning hair, you might have to use more hair around the base of the head just so that that hair isn't breaking. And you want to make sure that you have a strong enough base to hold the braiding hair and the lock extension that's going to be added. Now, I didn't add enough hair, so I went back, got a little bit more so we can thicken up her braid so that that lock has something to hold on to and it's not just too much weight on her natural hair. Okay, so add your extension hair, braid down. You're going to braid down probably 1 inch past your client's hair just to ensure when they take down their braids, they're not cutting their own hair. And then at the base, you'll see me just tie a knot just to secure the end of that braid. Some people use nail glue. I really don't like to mess with glue when it comes to the hair. I will use it on my own hair. I know my own hair. I know how long my hair is. A lot of people just, as far as clients, don't like nail glue or have had a bad experience with a client who wanted to get done quick or just did not braid past their hair. So I get it. But today we will be tying these braids off. Okay, so I'm just going through. I'm sectioning, so you see me taking a parting comb, splitting that section into 3 so that I can begin the next braid. And I do have a better angle coming up here, so I apologize for my arm getting in the way of the shot. But yeah, so I section into 3. I have my hair. and I'm just applying it, trying to keep the other hair out of the way. And we're just going to go ahead and make a braid with that extension hair. Okay, so just take your time, braid down. You want to make sure that that hair is really attached. And that it's secure before you move on to the next braid. You don't want these too tight because you are going to be pulling a crochet lock through the base, or you're going to be pulling the base of the braid through. And you'll see what I mean a little bit later in the video. But you want to make sure that it's not too tight so that you're able to pull a braid or the lock hair crochet through the base of the braid. Okay, so on our third braid here, I have my section laying into 3, separating, and then I'm just adding that hair again and braiding down. Make sure you go an inch, at least an inch past your client's hair. I'm just getting back into doing hairstyles like this. I haven't braided in almost 5 years. It's been like 4.5 years I used to braid, and you know, working and braiding at the same time, it just was becoming a lot. I kind of just was still doing it because I had multiple people's hair that I was doing. They didn't want to go to anyone else, lots of family members, things like that. So I just kept doing it. I didn't need to. I did have a full-time job, but now I'm a stay-at-home mom, you know, and it gets, not that my daughter doesn't keep me busy, but you know, it's something to do to get back into, earn money, and then also, you know, freshen up my skills. My hands also, I haven't actually went and seen a doctor to say I have carpal tunnel, but they do lock up. My fingers do lock up. That was also a reason why I had stopped braiding. So I'm just trying to do styles, you know, braiding styles that are just not too much on my hands right now. See how my hands do. And this lovely client is my cousin's girlfriend. She decided to come and be one of my models at a discounted price so I can get this style out to you guys. I've really been wanting to do this on someone else's head. I usually do the method where I do crochet in the back on mine, and then I'll do individuals around the front. But this will be the first time doing full individuals throughout the head, and I'm excited to see the outcome. So, magic of editing, I went ahead and parted out the next section. We've got that done. You'll see as she turns around to the side that there's some more thinning around the front. So we are going to add some hair in those sections too. But where the hair is thick enough to add the crochet, you want to just go ahead and make a braid with your client's natural hair only. Now, some people like to use braiding hair throughout. I don't feel it's necessary if the client has thick enough and healthy enough hair for those sections, but where it is thin, I will definitely add hair because it's just not thick enough to maintain the weight of putting that lock on. So we are working our way around. Again, parting in threes to make it just a little bit easier. Now, as I was saying, parting can be difficult, you know, with thinning hair. So usually I would bricklay when I'm parting, but it depends again on the thinning of the hair. So unfortunately, a bricklay pattern wasn't going to work in this area. So you'll see me stack these and then bricklay where I can. And then we were adding hair into these. We're going to be adding some human hair into these. The hair that we added in was a little bit shorter than I like to work with for this length. So in the back, we struggled a little bit because I was trying to get at least 2-3 pieces in the back. It just wasn't working out So you'll see later on that she has the human hair added around the base. That gave it the fullness that she needed. Also, because she had the thinning, I wanted to make sure that we had enough hair at the base, just besides the locks, just to cover some of that, camouflage it and blend it in. So that worked out well to add the human hair at the base. So I went ahead and braided everything up, added the hair where I needed to. Of course, in this front section, we're definitely going to be adding some hair. And you just want to put that product on sparingly. Try not to use so much. Sometimes I see people use a lot. And I mean, if the client can handle that, if they usually use these products and they don't give them scalp issues or anything, by all means, slap it and slather it on. But, you know, if they're like me and they have scalp issues, all that edge control is not good for my scalp. I don't use it unless I have to use it. It is a wonderful product. However, my scalp does not agree with it. So, you know, I just try to keep that in mind and ask those questions as I'm doing hair for a client, because my scalp says no, whereas somebody else's scalp might, you know, they might love it. So again, just be mindful of that and make sure you're asking those questions. Okay, so now we're at the front braid. And I'm sorry, actually, this one was okay to go ahead and braid down. It's the other side where we had to add hair. And you'll notice that sometimes you'll have, you know, just a bald spot, or sometimes you'll just have thinning around the edges, or sometimes, so, you know, sometimes you have to get creative in the way that you place your braids. You can't always use a brick-laid pattern, even though that's ideal and we would love to use that all the time. Me personally, I don't have to use a brick-laid pattern to still have, you know, a full outcome and coverage. It just all depends on how creative you can be with adding the hair. All right, so swung her around again, the magic of editing. We are all braided up. As you can see, I have those long pieces hanging off. We're going to need to cut those off, and you're going to make sure that you are cutting those off underneath where you tied. So you'll see me, you know, fix that tie there. If it's loosening up, make sure that you know, give it a little pull before you go ahead and snip those edges off. Now, I have seen people do this where they leave the hair a little bit longer. It depends kind of like on what you're doing also. If the client's hair is thin enough to pull through the dread and you have a hollow crochet, then you might want to keep a little bit more length so that you're able to pull all the way through. But if not, you can go ahead and clip those ends. Just make sure you're doing it again underneath the knot that you tied. All right, so now that we're done with that, we're going to move on to the next step of adding the crochets in. I do apologize again for my big old arm all in the way here. You can kind of see that I'm adding the dreadlock through, and this is where I was saying just to make sure your braid is, you know, loose. It does look like there's a little bit of tugging here. It wasn't too bad, but because the way that this is a distress lock, so it has a butterfly lock, so it has those little pieces out on these. I do like the way it came out, but the loop is so tiny, and that butterfly little piece that hangs out goes all the way to the top. So it was very difficult to try and work with this without opening each one before I put it on. So off camera, I went ahead and opened up those loops a little bit so they're a little bit easier to work with moving forward. Also, because she did have the thinning, I was adding these in different ways around the edges. And some of them that were very, very thin, I did just go ahead and pull through the crochet. Instead of wrapping it and causing more tension, we did just pull it through, leave it without wrapping or anything, just because we want to maintain the integrity and strength of that hair. So this one was one that was wrapped, and excuse my arm again, we'll get a little bit closer, give it just a few moments and we'll get a better shot. So So I'm taking that. This is not Marley hair. It's actually called Jamaican Twist. I think by Outre is the brand. It gives you a Marley feel though. It's just a little bit softer, but for these, and we wanted it to look realistic, we went ahead and used the more textured hair so that we can get the look we were going for because these are distressed and we wanted like a very messy look. So that's definitely what it gives. And it mimics natural hair very well. So if you have a smoother crochet or, you know, something that's just a lock itself, more shine to it, things like that, you might want to use some water wave hair or something like that. But for this style, we went with the Jamaican Twist, which is like a Marley texture. All right, so zooming in, you can see that distressed lock where it has those pieces that come out. Very, very distressed looking. And then we added that human hair in. So I'll go over this again and give you guys a better understanding of what I'm doing here. You're taking the crochet, putting it through the hook, and then you're going to take the hook through the base of the braid and pull the end of the braid through. Okay, so that braid should loop all the way back up. That's the part that you're going to wrap, just to conceal that braid. Okay, and after you wrap it down, then you've covered that braid and you're adding your human hair in as you go down. I'll show you again. And I do apologize for kind of cutting and speeding some of this up. Unfortunately, half of my video, I had bumped with my big old arm, I had bumped the camera and it was pointed towards the TV. So it was recording the show for half of the time I was doing her hair, unfortunately. So I did have to cut some, and then some parts, my arm was just totally in the way. You couldn't see anything. So I did go ahead and take those parts out because I didn't think you guys wanted to just see skin. Skin and big old arms, so and big back. So here we are. Again, you're going to take that crochet. You're going to put it on the crochet hook. Then you're going to take the crochet hook through the base of the braid, grab the end of the braid, close that crochet hook, and then pull it through the base. You're going to grab that Marley hair, and then you're going to grab a piece of human hair. I grab them together. I lay them on top the opposite way. Okay, giving me just a little piece of my hand there to hold on to, and then I start to wrap at the base. Now, when you first start wrapping at the base, you want to wrap up just so you can get that base concealed. You'll wrap that a few times and then pull out your human hair. Once you pull out your human hair, you can either clip it, or if you have a comb that you want to stick in the client's head and put it through the comb, you can also do that. I used a clip here, and then you'll just continue wrapping that Marley hair around the base. Now, when you notice your Marley hair is wrapping kind of thin, you'll go ahead and wrap back up, and that's how you're sealing the braid. If the client's hair is longer, of course, you'll have to add more hair and keep wrapping. Okay, so this is the back situation where I was trying to add more than one piece of human hair. Of course, this did not work out as we started to get towards the front. The hair was just too short. So we did just stick with the one piece moving towards the front. All right, so we're wrapping down. And again, if the client's hair is still hanging towards the edge, you'll need to go ahead and put another piece of Marley hair on there. And then you'll just continue to wrap over that. And I kind of go out of frame here. I think I have another shot of it a little bit closer. We'll give it just a moment, but it's same thing, just wrapping. Continue wrapping all the way till you get to the bottom of that client's hair, or until you get maybe an inch or two past the extension that you added. It just gives it a more seamless look. Now, one thing I did want to note is that when you're wrapping around, if you are wrapping butterfly locks, they do have those little pieces that stick out. So what you have to do is wrap around those pieces. So this can be a very tedious hairstyle. Very, very tedious, because not only are you wrapping, you have to be careful in how you wrap, and you have to wrap around, leaving those little bumps that come out of the braid. You have to wrap around those. So just be mindful. And if you are a beginner, I wouldn't suggest to use this hair to start off with. Use a more smooth lock, because that'll give you the practice in just wrapping down. You won't have to worry about, wrapping around the butterfly locks, the little things that are hanging out. That could be a little bit hard if you're just beginning. You'll see my client is shaking her head back and forth. Sometimes we were watching Prison Brides. And it was a little bit of drama going on, so. But we both were having a whole full-blown conversation and shaking our heads about some of the shenanigans that were going on Prison Brides. But here we are. I'm getting ready to do the next one. I was trying to get just a little bit of a better angle for you guys. So again, you're taking that crochet, putting it on the crochet needle. Okay, once you have that, you're going to go through the base of the braid. And I just stuck that through just to make sure it wasn't tight. So go through the base, pull the end through, and then once you pull the end through, you'll grab your human hair piece if you're starting off and not adding that a little bit lower, and then you'll grab your Marley hair. I put them together, even them up, and then I pull those through the base. And you just saw me kind of put them in the crochet needle first, just to make sure it was, not too thick to pull through. And then you're going to hold that small piece. You're going to leave one piece very short, and then you're going to leave the other piece long. Hold the short piece in your hand. Separate your human hair. Clip the human hair out of the way. Then you're going to wrap that base down. And if you find that some hair starts to stick out, you can always just flatten that hair with one hand and then go up again over it with the Marley hair. Okay, it's okay if you wrap more than once in the same area. You're just wrapping to ensure that you cover that base. And if there are little hairs sticking up or anything like that, that's how you fix it. You just go right back over it. Okay. Now you kind of want to have a grip when you're doing this, especially if you're doing a softer lock or a more seamless lock. You'll want to make sure that you have a little bit more of a grip. With these, they're very distressed. They're the butterfly locks, so you kind of want to not wrap as tightly so you can give the look of, you know, the distressed hair, and so it looks a little bit more natural and blends in more with the bottom of the crochet. And then you'll just see me add both of those again, and then I'm just going to go over it and continue wrapping with the Marley hair, separating the human hair and then bringing that up and out of the way. And if you feel like you might be losing your grip, you can wrap around and then take your finger. Some people do this with the thumb. I do it with the index finger. And you just put that finger right under, and that will see that there. That'll kind of keep your grip there and keep it close for you. You also want to make sure that the Marley pieces that you're adding, or the Afro kinky hair, whatever type of hair you're using, that you don't make it too thick. You can always add more pieces, but if you make it too thick and your dread is way thicker at the base than it is at the ends, it's going to be very noticeable. So make sure that the hair that you wrap with, you're making it a little bit, the pieces a little bit thinner, and then you can just add more if you need. So you'll see me wrap around. You see as I go up and around those little pieces that are sticking out of the butterfly lock, just so you can keep that look throughout the whole lock instead of just having that at the end. And then you're going to make sure that everything is stretched, because you'll see I'm taking the smallest little piece and wrapping that back up, and then I finish with the little palm roll just to secure everything. Okay, so this is how they're turning out so far. We've got a few done just to show you the length and the curl at the bottom. So far, so good. We're going to go ahead and finish this up, and this is what we're looking like when we're done. As you can see, she loved it, and I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something from the video. Be blessed. Bye-bye. You all enjoyed this video, that you learned something, and that you have something positive to say about it in the comments. If not, go ahead and leave that too. Might not be responded to, but hey. Have a blessed one. Bye.